You're listening to the Overcast. Sunshine on a cloudy day. Part of the Oversoul Gaming channel. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Overcast, your joke-making, fun-having pop culture podcast. I am your host, Justin, aka Oversoul.
And I am your co-host, Nick, aka the Vaping Fiend.
Indeed, and like always, we bring you sunshine on a cloudy day. And,
Yes.
there's much sunshine to be had in the near future because the Game Awards are damn near upon us, and, not only is it the video game Oscars, but more fun, but it's also an excuse for a mini E3 where a bunch of video games get announced and trailers get shown and stuff like that. So, you know, some people tune in for one, some for the other, and some for both. I am in the third category. And, every year I really enjoy this. So, something I've always wanted to do and never really had the opportunity to do was do like a Game Award predictions discussion. And now I have that chance with this podcast. So that's what that topic is going to be for this episode. We'll be going through each of the nominees in this year's Game Awards categories and giving our predictions on who we think is going to win. But also we'll be voting on the ones that we would like to see win. And believe it or not, user votes do account towards 10% of the total, consideration for winnings in this.
Yes.
So, it's like 90% voted on by a panel of judges and 10% voted on by the rest of us on this website. So it does count for something. About as much as a real election.
Right.
Anyways, edgy. Anyways,
yeah.
But we'll be getting into the votes and all that later. We'll also talk about our predictions for the announcements and talk about some games that got snubbed at the nominees and all that. The nominees by the time you're listening to this was last week on Monday the 13th, but there's only a certain time of day and a certain day of the week that we can record these. So,
right.
We get them out as fast as we can. We're not South Park.
Right, exactly.
But all that being the case,
I was like, aren't we gonna be like doing voting as we're talking on the show? So we'll be live voting.
Yes, and there will be, for those of you watching, I will have video footage of my screen pulled up if you're watching this on YouTube. When we get to that part later, you'll be able to see and read along as we go, each of these categories and such. So, yep, we'll have that. And much more to look forward to. And we will have a media corner in this episode, but it'll be a little bit different, folks, because I'm actually going to opt out of anything in the media corner this episode, because all of my things I realized were video games, and I'm going to talk about them during the topic anyway, so I'm just going to save it for that. But Nick here does have three things for us. One piece of news, one review, and one recommendation, and so we will give him the floor during that section. But before that, life updates. Anything worth mentioning?
Let's see. Okay. So I recently started playing the second Dark Pictures anthology game, Little Hope. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Like, I don't think I've gotten too far into the story to know what I know how to feel about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. And that's fair enough. It was definitely my least favorite of the first season.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, no, Man in Medan was a quick playthrough. Like, that was a very, short game, but that's
They're not
It,
long. You see
it,
that my Let's Play of The Devil in Me is only 10 episodes, and they're all like a half hour.
yeah, no, it's definitely a short game. But I liked it.
They have high replayability, though, these
Oh
games.
yeah, absolutely, because there's so many different ways the story could end.
Right, right. Alright, well, how's, work, I guess?
Work's been busy. Um,
I would expect it.
yeah, no, there was one night I went to work and we started the shift and the truck that they usually have me in was already filled like 75% of the way full. So we ended up in the second trailer uh very quickly, and the dude that I was working with just so happened to be a wrestling fan. And so we get to talking about wrestling, and when you get me talking about the WWE, I lose track of time. So
Wrestling.
yeah, dude, look, that night went by so fucking quick. I shit you not. I'm talking. I can't remember what I was talking to him about last. I think it was something having to do with Bray Wyatt. It had to have been something. I don't. It was irrelevant, but basically, our supervisor had come up to us and be like, "Hey, do you guys want to get out of here?" I'm like, What the fuck time is it?" I look at my watch and it's like 2:22 in the morning. I'm like, "Oh shit." See, I told you when I when I get to talking about the WWE, I lose track of time, and that night went by super fucking fast, bro.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I have obsessions that I can info dump about for a
Bro.
long time.
Oh man.
Very extensive lore heavy video game franchises like Kingdom Hearts that I
Yes.
could go on and on about. Yeah, I
And
get
yeah,
it.
no, this dude and I share the exact the same uh opinion of Logan Paul. Logan Paul's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think most sensible people share that opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I honestly can't say that there's much going on for me right now either.
Oh
I
man.
I realized that I announced that I had found work in an episode that we recorded that hasn't come out yet and won't until the beginning of December.
Uh-huh.
So, it's worth mentioning to people now because this episode is going to be coming out within the week of us recording it.
Yes.
Um and there are two episodes that we've already recorded that are coming out after this one.
Yes.
As I mentioned in the last episode we recorded, which is the next one you'll hear, folks. This
Mhm.
is boy, man, the multiverse is really fucking things around, isn't it?
It really is.
Anyways, though, no. Truth be told, though, that there's a method to the madness. We've recorded these out of order for a reason, but they are still intended to be listened to in the order that they're put out in. So,
Yeah.
um, so all that being said, yeah, So, for those who don't know yet, I did find new work at a retail store, and it's pretty decent so far. I break down pallets and separate the things, and then I stock the electronics section. This is not a big store. This is not a major store. And it's just seasonal right now, so there's no guarantee that I'll still be there when the holidays end. But
Right.
that also depend. It's not about your performance exclusively. It also depends on how much money the store makes.
Right.
So, but so far so good. Can't complain too much. It is a
Right.
job, so there's that. Outside of that, though, just been the usual nonsense and hubbubaloo. Yeah, and I talked about everything else in other episodes that you fine folks will hear in the future. um, truth be told, I don't know what our Thanksgiving plans are yet, or Christmas for that matter, but I guess I'll find out when the time comes.
I'm hoping to go over to
So,
my mom's for a little bit for Thanksgiving.
but yeah, not a whole lot new, not a whole lot different, just the same old as it goes.
Right.
Well then, um, I guess that'll do it for the life updates, or I guess rather lack thereof. We'll just
Right.
we'll just shimmy on over into the media corner real quick, because if I'm being honest, the topic is going to be the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yes, yes it is.
$12,000. It's a dog.
That's a lot.
All right, everyone, welcome to the media corner, the section of the show where we give news, reviews, and recommendations. And as I previously stated, I'm going to be opting out of this episode's media corner and reserving the things I want to talk about for during the topic. So this is going to be the Nicholas show today. If you
Yes, it is.
want to go ahead and take the stage, I may have some input on some of the things you're talking about, but for the most part,
Yeah.
it's all you, my friend, so go nuts. In whatever
All
order.
right. So, I'm going to start with my review for the Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan. I have since beat this game, and I loved every minute of it. And I actually, the only person I wasn't able to save was Conrad, the annoying brother of the girlfriend's sister.
Played by Sean Ashmore.
Yes. So the plot of this game: four friends and their captain set sail on a holiday diving trip to find a rumored World War II wreck. But as the day unfolds, a storm rolls in, and soon their trip changes into something much more sinister. The fact that this is like a ghost ship, bruh. Like it's not even ghosts. It's what was it? It was almost like the mist on that was in the air on the ship was getting into their systems, and it was fucking with them. Oh, this was such a good game. I loved every minute of it.
Normally I'd call a spoiler alert, but I think this game is past its statute of limitations, so I'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah, because this game came out in 2019?
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's been literally 3 Dark Pictures games since, so...
Right, yeah. Oh, this was such a good game. I'd give it a 8.5.
Okay.
8.5. I'd give it an 8.5 because it was a short game. I loved every minute of it, but they could have done more with it.
Right, so since you said that, I'm glad you said that, because I have a recommendation for you on that, with that game. If you go back and replay it, do the director's cut. You should have unlocked that after finishing it once.
Yes.
Otherwise, I think it's a free DLC or something. Or it was. Okay. So do the director's
The curator's cut.
the curator's cut. Yes, and here's why. Because what that is everything you didn't see when characters split up, you will see on that playthrough. So you know how the Dark Pictures.
Oh god damn it!
The Dark Pictures games have co-op, right? Well.
Yes.
When you're doing co-op in those games, during moments when characters split up, the player one gets to experience the story from the perspective of your first playthrough, your first normal playthrough, like you just did.
Okay.
Player two gets to experience the curator's cut experience during that. So, for example, in the beginning of the game, when two of the characters dive underwater to go explore the sunken ship or whatever, and some of them stay back up on the boat, player one goes down in the water, and player two stays up on the boat.
Oh shit!
So, if you play the game again in the curator's cut during that scene, you'll be one of the characters up on the boat while the other two are down underwater diving.
Okay.
Now, here is the downside to that. It does mean that choices that you made in your first playthrough will be being made by AI in your second playthrough, and you'll be making different choices, which means that the computer can actually get characters killed on your second playthrough.
God damn it.
But it's worth it. It's worth the curator's cut to see the alternate perspective, because here's a fun one, right? You know the part where I forget the characters' names, but the blonde girl is coming up on her boyfriend, and she looks like a monster to him, and you have the option whether or not to stab her. Like, okay, so at that point, I didn't do it because I figured it out, but that right there, that's a trick to try and get you to kill one of the characters to see if you've been paying attention to the story or not. You know?
That makes sense.
That's what that is, because if you haven't been paying attention and you think it's real, then your first instinct is going to be to stab it, right? But oopsie doodle, I killed a friend, you know?
Right.
And they do shit like that throughout all of these games, which I really appreciate. The Devil in Me being one of the biggest culprits of it, quite frankly. There are a lot of gotcha choices in that one. So, a lot of red herrings, a lot of like, ooh, I thought I did the right thing, but I guess I didn't type of situations. So, yes. I'm glad you liked it. I hope you definitely finish Little Hope, if only to get like the continuation of the curator's story out of that, and then House of Ashes.
Yeah.
I really hope you like that one too, because that one is a House of Ashes is more of a action horror, and I would compare it to the likes of like Alien or Resident Evil in that regard.
Okay.
That one is actually one of my favorites in the franchise. It made my top 10 the year it came out, so did The Devil in Me. The other two did not. The other two did not make my top 10 the years they came out, so that should say something. And House of Ashes is that one is about, it takes place during the war in Iraq, and a bunch of American and Iraqi soldiers get trapped underground, and there's a bunch of like demon creatures that are hunting them, and they have to work together to survive.
Right.
So it's really good. It's more action-y because you have guns and shit in that one, but still really cool. But yeah, they add shooting segments to that one. So,
all right,
yeah, they get better and better as they go. The Devil in Me has been my favorite so far, but I'm a little biased because of like the saw trap aspect of it.
Gotcha.
So, but I think you're gonna like that one too because of that same reason.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's a Jason type serial killer, but doing jigsaw type traps. You know, so 8 out of 5. You just wanted them to do more with it, though. You said that was your only caveat. The more is
that was my only caveat, was that they could have done more with it.
The more is the curator's cut.
Okay.
Yeah, or if you play it co-op, because situations like the stabby situation, the other player can be like, "Bro, you fucking stabbed me," you know.
Right.
Okay. All right. What else you got for us?
All right, so there's this show on Paramount Plus that I heard about recently, so I decided to check it out. It's called Colin from Accounts. This is an Australian show, so
Crikey!
all of the actors and actresses are Australian, and it's Ashley and Gordon, two single-ish complex humans who are brought together by a car accident and an injured dog. Flawed, funny people choosing each other and being brave enough to show their true selves and navigate life together. So, I want to say what the accident and the dog have in common because it's the reason I decided to check it out in the first place
Okay.
because it was in the articles that I have been reading about it. So it's not technically considered a spoiler. Um
We call these perhaps mild spoilers, just in case there's anyone that goes on full media blackout.
I think I think it was also in the trailer for the show too.
Yeah, media blackout means they don't watch trailers.
Right. So basically Ashley is leaving to go to her the whatever she's going to, and Gordon is on his way to work. And there's this dog crossing the street at the same time Ashley's crossing the street, and Ashley pulls her shirt down and flashes Gordon, distracting him and hence hitting the dog.
Oh shit, I think I've seen a trailer for this now that you mention it, and I don't remember where.
It's called Colin from Accounts, and I can't say why the name of the show is called Colin from Accounts.
Oh, I know where I
Because
saw the trailer. On Paramount Plus itself before an episode of
okay,
Yellow Jackets.
okay, yeah, no, this is an interesting show. I can't say why it's called Colin from Accounts because that would be technically considered a spoiler.
Okay, fair enough. You have me intrigued, though.
It's funny, bro. Like they're only 4 episodes in, and I only got to episode 3,
Well,
and before I fell asleep. That is.
what? You?
Yeah, no,
Never.
yeah, yeah. Um,
You know what, though? I give you shit for falling asleep watching movies and stuff all the time, but full disclosure, cards on the table here, I once fell asleep actively playing a video game, right? I was playing,
I did.
No,
I
no,
did that last night,
you,
actually.
you don't understand, though. This isn't one of those fall asleep during a cutscene and wake up when you reloaded back in, or you died because you loaded into a fight. You know what I mean? No, this wasn't one
Right.
of those scenarios. I was playing, I think it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the third one in the reboot trilogy, and I was in an area that had like a semi-open map, and I was running across the map, and I'd go in to get a collectible or something, and I started nodding off, and I fell asleep while still pushing forward on the stick. And I woke up. I woke up a few minutes later, and I was still pushing forward on the stick. And I look up, and Laura Croft is just staring at a wall. So somehow I managed to make it.
That's amazing.
To a completely different location of the map while I was asleep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you heard of
Oh my
sleepwalking?
God.
Try sleep gaming, bitch.
Right.
It wasn't
Oh,
very
bro.
effective sleep gaming, but it happened.
No, I did that same shit last night. I was in the middle of like wandering through the police station on Little Hope,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to turn my PlayStation on to continue before hopping on here to record, and I got the notification on my PlayStation. It said your PlayStation turned off to save power. My ass fucking fell asleep.
It happens. Thank God for rest mode. You can just jump
Right.
straight back into where you left off.
Right. Yeah, no,
Like
that's exactly what happened.
like seamlessly. But okay. Well, this show sounds. You've got my interest. It's a good recommend. I think I'll have to
Mhm.
watch this,
Yeah,
especially
no,
because
it's
now I'm
it's
picturing the trailer and your
it's
description of it, and I'm like, okay, uh, I'm in. But okay. Anything else you want to say about this accounting show?
uh hmm, there's not much I can say. I mean, there's 8 episodes for this because this is a brand new show. Um they're on their first season, so they're only 4 episodes in, and there's 8 episodes total for for the first season. So I don't really know what to say about it yet, but I'm gonna hold off on going back to it until all of the episodes are streaming.
Okay.
Because yeah, yeah. I admittedly fell asleep before the fourth episode could start. So yeah, I'm probably gonna need to go back and watch episode 3. I'll probably just restart the whole show, to be honest, once the whole show's out.
Fair enough. All right. It sounds interesting. I'll have to give it a
It it's
go.
it's it's funny. Don't it is funny. So
I'm
yeah,
work
no, it's a recommend.
I'm working my way through season 2 of Yellow Jackets now, so I'm gonna finish that before I jump on anything else. But that has been
Okay,
phenomenal so far. So I think the show is a lot more paranormal than I thought it was gonna be.
gotcha. Okay,
So
okay.
all right, what else you got?
All right. So I was looking for something to watch on that new streaming platform on PlayStation, that Sony Pictures thing that has movies included with your PlayStation Plus subscription.
Core, yeah.
Yeah, Sony Pictures Core. And I saw an ad for something, and it intrigued me because my first thought was, hmm, would this be a way of Marvel introducing Spider-Gwen to the MCU? But again, this is a Sony Pictures. This is a Sony Pictures film. So this is part of that universe, so not part of the MCU, unfortunately.
No. Although it is MCU adjacent, I guess you could say,
It
because
is. Yeah.
because Venom was in one of the MCU movies, sorta,
Yes, he
in a
was.
credit scene.
He was in a credit scene, yeah.
So,
So this is Madam Web. Madam Web tells the standalone origin story of one of Marvel Publishing's most enigmatic heroines. This is basically, I wouldn't say an exact retelling of the Peter Parker story because she's not in high school. She's an EMT.
this movie has a young Ben Parker in it too, from what I saw.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking this is more a alternate universe scenario.
Right. This is, yeah, and Emma Roberts is plays Mary Parker.
Very nice.
Mary Parker, let's see. Adam Scott is Ben Parker.
Wait, wasn't Mary Parker Spider Man's mom?
Mary.
Because May and Ben were his aunt and uncle, but I think Mary was his mom's name. I could be wrong.
I'm looking. No, you're right. Hold on. Hold on a second. I smell some fuckery.
Okay.
Oh, god damn it. I'm really hoping this isn't going to be another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man scenario, cuz I mean, I don't get me wrong. I loved the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, but I know they don't necessarily Do they follow the comics?
I'm not sure what you're getting at, to be honest.
I don't know.
I mean, every superhero movie adaptation loosely follows the comics to some degree, you know? Well,
Yeah.
also making it their own. There's been a million Spider-Man
don't
stories,
know.
just like there's been a million Batman stories, so...
Right.
This seems to be like an alternate history multiversal movie type situation.
Yeah. Or maybe a prequel of some sort.
Yeah, it could be that too. It's possible. But the Sony Spider-Verse movies tie very loosely into the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah. Because we had
I think we're supposed to assume that any Marvel property that's not part of the MCU directly, like the main MCU timeline, is anything that's not part of that timeline is part of the multiverse, basically.
right, yeah. That makes sense.
On Loki, they call the main timeline the sacred timeline. It's been confirmed as Earth 616. So
Okay.
So all the other timelines, and we've seen some of the multiverse in the MCU movies and stuff, but all the other Marvel properties that aren't part of the main MCU are all part of the
Oh, Mike
multiverse.
Epps is in this.
Oh, nice.
Mike Epps is in this.
He's funny.
Yeah, he is.
Is that
Any other notable...
Dakota Johnson is the main character?
Yeah. Dakota Johnson is Madam Web's and or Cassandra Webb.
Yup. Okay. It seems like it's not just exclusively like spider powers like Spider-Man, though. There seems to be some like actual like powers going on here. Some kind of like...
Yeah, and Sydney Sweeney is the role of Julia Carpenter.
Some like magic and shit.
Yeah. I don't see any other notable names that I recognize.
So when is Madam Web swinging its way into theaters?
I'm looking at the IMDb page as we speak, and it says the release date is February 14th, 2024. So it's a Valentine's Day release.
Taking the thunder from Deadpool 3, I see. Because Deadpool 3 comes out at a different time, I think, but, like, the very first Deadpool, like, famously came out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it sure did. Sure the fuck did. I remember going to see it in theaters.
Yeah, it was advertising itself as a Valentine's movie.
It sure the fuck was.
Well, as Flanders from The Simpsons would say, Oakley dokley. I will say one more thing about that, though. I hope we eventually get a Deadpool Spider-Man team up with all this multiverse stuff. You know what I mean?
Bro, you ain't lying, though.
Like, that's gotta happen, right?
Right.
Yeah. Spider-Pool. You know there was a, you know how we have,
yes.
You know how we have Spider-Gwen, right? You know there was once a Gwen pool?
Really?
Yup. Look her up. Yep. It's like I said, multiversal Deadpool shenanigans. I mean, we're getting Dogpool in this movie, so
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I think Ryan Reynolds may have gotten some ideas from the Into the Spider-Verse movies.
You think?
I think maybe a smidge.
Maybe a smidgen from the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah.
The Miles Morales movies?
Yes, that's what I'm gonna say. That's definitely borrowing from to an extent. But Dogpool is from the comics too, so there's that.
Yeah, true.
So, but then again, so were the millions and millions of Spider-Men that we saw in those movies, so.
Yes.
Alright, well, I'm glad that you saved a Spider-Man adjacent film for last, because for the news section, I mean, for the last thing in the media corner, because Spider-Man 2 was one of the games that was nominated several times for
Oh, it sure the fuck
many
was,
different
and I will be voting for it.
many different categories at the Game Awards this year. So I think that
Yes.
makes a perfect segue into our topic.
Yes.
Okay, finally, on behalf of the jury, I am proud to announce the 6 nominees selected for outstanding creative and technical excellence.
All right, there, everyone. Here we are at this episode's topic, which, as I previously mentioned, is our predictions for the upcoming Game Awards, which airs on December 7th. That's a Thursday, December 7th, at, I want to say, approximately 7 p.m. Central Time. So that would be like 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 Eastern. Don't quote me on those times, though. You might want to double check that for yourselves. But I do know
Right.
I do know the day for sure. It usually starts in the early evening, though, like early to late evening, and there's usually like a little like half-hour pre-show where they give away some of the smaller awards,
Yeah.
and show smaller trailers. So, and then there's the main show, which is usually about 3 hours long and has all the big stuff and
Yeah.
celebrity cameos, musical performances, game announcements, and of course the awards. So, all right. So we're gonna actually start. First of all, I should probably mention if you're watching the YouTube version of this, if of this podcast, then there will be a visual accompaniment to the things that we are saying and talking about once we get to the nominees. But that visual will pop up on the screen here for you in 3, 2, 1. Boom! There it is. All right. For now, it's just gonna sit here on this home screen for a bit while we talk about our predictions for the announcements that are gonna
Yes.
happen. Not just the announcements, though. Not just announcements. I'm also gonna try and predict some celebrity appearances and musical performances.
Okay.
And musical performances, yes. And also just like things in general. Like, do you think someone's going to invade the stage again this year? You know,
Oh, I hope so.
you hope so. I hope
Yes.
not. I hope not, because that shit's getting old. But okay. So
I have. Can I start us off with this? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been itching about this. Next month marks the 25th anniversary of Rockstar Games, thanks to the incredible support of our players worldwide. We have had the opportunity to create games we are truly passionate about. I am referring to the tweets that that Rockstar Games have tweeted out within the recent weeks, and basically, I'm just gonna continue reading, and here you'll know exactly what my prediction is when I get to the end. It says, "Without you, none of this would be possible, and we are so grateful to all of you for sharing this journey with us." In 1998, Rockstar Games was founded on the idea that video games could come to be as essential to culture as any other form of entertainment, and we hope that we have created games you love in our efforts to be part of that evolution. We are very excited to let you know that in early December, we will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. We look forward to many more years of sharing these experiences with all of you. Thank you, Sam Hauser. Oh, bro. I this this and the fact that there was also another tweet that caught my eye, and I need to go back and find it. I know it's under my likes. I know it's under my likes. It is. Oh no, I don't think I liked it.
That's okay. What you told us is enough to go off of.
Oh my god.
So
Oh,
this leads into
I'm so excited for this.
into your announcement prediction, which is
Yes, Grand Theft Auto 6.
Okay.
I am predicting that they are going to be that they are going to be announcing they're saving this big announcement for the Game Awards.
World
That is
premiere.
World premiere trailer. First trailer of Grand Theft Auto 6. I am going into this with expectations.
Now, what if it's not 6, but another like Vice City or San Andreas type game where it's not
I don't think
not
that
a numbered title, but
I don't think they would do that at the Game Awards. I think that would be something that they would do.
You gotta remember,
at least I would hope not. I would hope not.
You gotta remember though.
You know how pissed off I would be?
These shows are pretty fair about giving equal attention to the big and small games.
Oh, yeah, true.
That being said, though, I mean, and also I find their wording
But
very
with all of
interesting. Like they said, the next Grand Theft Auto game. They didn't say 6. They just said the next Grand Theft Auto game, which is interesting wording.
Right? Yeah.
That being said, though, you're probably right. I'm also expecting this as well, and so is the internet in general. Like that's what they've taken this and ran with it. So.
Everybody is expecting to see a big announcement. We thought we were going to see it in October because of Rockstar's like history with announcing this shit.
I just had a funny thought. What if Grand Theft Auto 5 now coming to Nintendo Switch? Oh shit.
I would find a way to this theater and I would bum rush the stage my goddamn self.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I have a strong potential prediction, but I'm calling it right now. Death Stranding 2. I think we're gonna see something. I think Hideo Kojima's gonna come out on stage and he's gonna do something weird, and we're gonna get some Norman Reedus and baby. Yeah. This is
okay.
I'm calling it now. I think this is gonna happen. I think there's gonna be a Death Stranding 2 trailer.
Okay.
I'm expecting it. I also think I'm predicting we're gonna get a musical performance by the Old Gods of Asgard.
Ooh, that would be so cool.
Because Alan Wake 2 is one of the Game of the Year nominees, and they have several musical numbers in this game that are like very memorable moments and that the internet has gone nuts for, and they are played by the real life band Poets of the Fall, so it's not like, you can't get them.
Right, yeah.
They may be a fictional band, but they're played by a real one, so they can be there.
Right.
So, I'm predicting that.
That would be cool.
Yes. Let's see. I'm predicting. Let's see, because every year there's been some kind of celebrity showing up, right? Like last year they had Al Pacino. He was there,
I would say maybe Keanu Reeves.
Nope, he's done it before. They've done him before. They don't tend to repeat a lot like that. They usually try to be a surprise. I'm trying to think like who's big right now, who's doing things. Maybe Timothy Chalamet?
Maybe.
I could see that. And sometimes it ties into the category too, because when they had Al Pacino come out last year, it was to introduce the winner for the Best Actor award, like the best performance award. So
yeah,
and that makes sense because he's an old ass actor. So
I mean, they could get Tom Holland to do one of the awards that's geared that has Spider-Man in it, but then again, that would basically be a dead giveaway.
Right. I was just thinking
as to who the winner is.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that too. Jeff Keighley has done some live Q&As that I've watched over the weeks, answering people's questions about this, saying a few things. So, like, there's actually been some controversy because one of the games nominated for Best Indie is Dave the Diver, and that game, although it looks like an indie game at first look, people are saying the company that made it, Mint something or another. Anyways, they're backed up and funded by a bigger company, so people are like questioning whether or not it's considered an indie game because of its bigger funding. And Jeff argues, and I agree, that indie game isn't really about the budget or the dev team size so much as it is the look and feel of the game, I think, and how it plays and how much it costs and shit like that. That's, to me, I think indie is a genre, not like a shackled category, honestly.
Right.
You know? So I agree that Dave the Diver actually belongs there, because with that argument in mind, Baldur's Gate 3 would technically be an indie game, because even though it looks and plays like and costs the price of a AAA game, it was made by a small, very small company. So,
right.
And it's one of the Game of the Year nominees. And we'll get to that later, but I have some predictions in those. I will say this right now. One of my big predictions is that game is going to sweep. That game is going to take home most of the awards. I would assume it's either going to be that, or it's going to be like a Red Dead 2 God of War situation, where it's going to take home a lot of awards, or like another game is going to take home a lot of awards, like Spider-Man or Alan Wake. They're probably going to take home a lot. And then Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win Game of the Year. You know, it's going to be something like that. And people are always like, well, how can something that won all these other categories not win a Game of the Year? That's not what it's about. That's not the point. You can have the best story and the best graphics and still not be the best game that year. You know?
Exactly.
There's more to it than that. Yeah. A lot more to it. So, but yeah, I'm not sure what else I would have to predict. I don't know if there's any other, like, there might be some, like, Fortnite announcement or something. Every once in a while they do those.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to think. This is what's been, like, big.
Maybe some hopefuls. Maybe some, like.
Yeah, I was just trying to think if there's anything else that seems, like, very obvious. Like, yeah, they're probably going to do that. But I don't know. I'm actually, like, looking forward to being pleasantly surprised. Jeff Keighley did say in his live Q&A that there is going to be some new IPs announced here. Like like brand new franchises that we haven't seen before. Like new ideas, new games. You know, he said last year they announced a lot of sequels to games, and those are a lot of what came out this year. But this year we're going to be seeing more, like, you know, fresh ideas in the announcements. So, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. So that doesn't mean we won't see any sequels and shit like that, but that does mean that we will see some new stuff too. So I'm looking forward to that. Perhaps we'll finally get some release dates on a few things. We'll probably get like a release date trailer or a launch trailer for Avatar, because that comes out the same day this airs. So
that does, doesn't it?
December 7th. So
I would play the shit out of that game.
So we'll probably get that. There'll probably be a couple of indie games or something, maybe like some sequels. I'm trying to think. Maybe one final trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, since that comes out next February.
Right.
Maybe some release dates for games that have been announced already that we don't have release dates for yet.
Right.
That are set to come out next year, but we don't know when. Maybe that kind of stuff. So maybe a Final Fantasy V and or 6 remake trailer, or a trailer for, or not Final Fantasy 5 and 6, sorry. Resident Evil 5 and 6 remakes, or a Resident Evil 9 sequel to Village. Maybe we get that. Well, no, Dragon's Dogma 2 has its own special event coming up, but maybe we do see some more of that at the Game Awards too, you know.
Right.
Maybe a little something something, but okay. Yeah, let's talk about some wishful thinking things. These are things that are like they're probably not going to happen. There's like a snowball's chance in hell of this actually happening, but if we could see this happen, we would like to. Um yeah, I'm thinking like Uncharted 5. uh I
Maybe a Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, I would like to see some more on Dragon Age Dreadwolf, but I don't know if it's ready. That's be Dragon Age 4. Um,
Hmm.
but we did just get a teaser for Mass Effect 5 during N7 Day, so who knows? Um, maybe that one's not so wishful thinking after all. Maybe we will get something there.
Maybe another title from Supermassive Games.
Yeah, I would like to see a trailer for season 2 is going to start with a sci-fi horror game, and I want to see more
Ooh.
on that. Yeah. So this one takes place in space, like actually in space. So,
Oh, nice. Very nice.
yep. We got a small trailer for it at the end of The Devil in Me. Like the credits of each of those games ends with a trailer for the next one.
Makes sense.
So yeah, the trailer is like a post-credit scene. Really cool, actually.
Nice.
Um, let's see. Do you have any hopefuls? Anything that you would really like to see? Anything that you would just absolutely shit yourself if it somehow happened?
Um, Not that I can. You know what? Yeah, actually, because I'm really hoping that they go this route with WWE 2K24. I know they're probably not going to announce this at the Game Awards. Not everyone gives a shit about WWE. I get it. But I think that the WWE should do a solid for the Rotunda family and make the cover with their permission, of course. Make the cover superstar Bray Wyatt and have the showcase that is in the game showcase Bray Wyatt's entire career, which is what they've been doing for the last few games. Like the 2K23 was they showcased John Cena's career in the WWE. In 2K22, they showcased Rey Mysterio's career. In 2K20, because they skipped over 2K21. In 2K20, I don't even remember whose career it was that they were showcasing. I think it was I think they were showcasing the women's revolution, actually. And then in 2K19, they showcased AJ Styles' career, and I think that was the first time they did that with the 2K games.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's. I would absolutely shit bricks if they announced that Bray Wyatt is the cover superstar for WWE 2K24. If that is the case, I wouldn't want to buy this digitally. I would want to buy this physical copy.
Oh yeah, I can
Be-
imagine.
no, because it's Bray Wyatt, and yes, I have a disc drive on my PS5, but I don't use it often, and I only started doing digital downloads only because of the issue that my PS4 had when it started spitting out discs when I was in the middle of either watching a movie or playing a game, and it's like, what the fuck? I don't know if this PS5 is going to have the same issue at some point.
Yeah, no, I get it. Hopefully not.
But no, I would want a physical copy of this game. And I would honestly, yeah, physical copy. There'd be no sense in getting the physical copy and the digital copy.
I have a very big, like, it's probably never going to happen in a million years, sadly, but God, I would shit myself if it did. And I'm surprised you didn't think of this immediately, too. But a PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale 2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How could I fucking forget? Bro,
That would be. I
I
would
would
love
lose my
that. Yeah.
I would lose my shit. We'd have to do a let's play of
There's
that.
a big enough roster to justify it now, a sequel. Like, there's enough new characters and previous characters with new outfits and looks. So,
Yes, like Kratos,
exactly. And Ratchet and Clank.
Norse Kratos. Yep.
Yeah, we talked about this in a previous episode too. We did our like wish list character roster for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would like to see that. Okay, well, all right, well, enough of all that then. Let's get on to the nominees. We're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up, and uh, we'll be skipping the esports categories as I know nothing about any of that shit. So, um, and content creator of the year because I don't recognize any of the ones nominated this year. So we're gonna start with most anticipated game, um, which is basically a game that's been announced and confirmed to be coming out sometime, hopefully next year.
Okay, I already know what I'm voting for.
Took a second for it to open with like me clicking on it, but we got it. Okay, so most anticipated game. And yes, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. And we have 5 games here: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. And these are, I think, all set to come out sometime next year. So, first, before we decide which one we vote on, we have to ask which one do we think is going to win, realistically?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure Hades 2.
Really? Okay. I could see an argument for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because Ryan speaks so highly of it on Fortress of Nerditude.
It is a roguelike game, and it's a very niche category, but among roguelikes, it is the most popular one, probably.
Yeah, either that or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
That would be my guess, and it's also my vote.
Star Wars Outlaws is my vote. But that's just me.
That would be my second choice. Yeah, it would be my second choice for sure. I thought you were going to say Tekken 8 for some reason.
No.
Okay. Because you're more of the fighting game guy than me. But yeah, so, and then the other one, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, is part of the Yakuza franchise. So that's why it's highly anticipated, because that's a very popular franchise. Kind of RPG-ish, kind of GTA-ish, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting series. So, alright. So, go ahead and cast your vote, and then click on the previous arrow to go to the next category, because that...
So for best adaptation.
Correct.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. Can I take this one?
Yeah, go straight ahead. Read the
All right. So this is for best adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. We have 5 adaptations here. We've got Castlevania Nocturne, the Netflix project.
Mm-hmm.
Gran Turismo from Sony Pictures. The Last of Us from originally HBO Max,
Yeah.
now Max,
Yeah.
the one to watch. The Super Mario movie from Illumination, Nintendo, and Universal Pictures, and Twisted Metal from PlayStation Productions and Peacock.
I think it's safe to say that the winner is probably going to be The Last of Us.
Yeah, I have to agree, and honestly, that's my vote.
That's your vote
I have
too?
not.
I was expecting
I
you to
have
vote for
not.
Mario.
I okay, so yes, I love the Mario movie, love it, but from what I have seen of The Last of Us, I have not finished it yet. I love every minute of it.
Yes, and I've also seen Twisted Metal, but between those three things, definitely The Last of Us for me as well. That's, yeah, it's barely a competition if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I have yet. I also have yet to finish Twisted Metal. I'm slacking here.
Okay, next category is Best Multiplayer, and although I don't dabble in multiplayer a whole lot, this one is pretty self explanatory. It's the game with the most outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, which includes co op and competitive games. Um, we've got Baldur's Gate 3 co op, Diablo 4 co op, Party Animals competitive, Street Fighter 6 competitive, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder co op.
Considering I have not played any of these,
My prediction
I'm gonna.
is either Street Fighter 6 or Baldur's Gate 3 is what it's going to get this one.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I would say Baldur's Gate 3 has more of a chance, but my vote is gonna be Super Mario Brothers Wonder because I'm familiar with the Mario series, so that's gonna be my vote.
Yes, and I haven't played that yet, but I will say this. By the time you're listening to this episode, there's a good chance that I will have played it because I have that and the Super Mario RPG remake both coming in the mail from Gamefly to play. So, once I found out that Super Mario Bros. Wonder was up for Game of the Year, I was like, well, I'm going to have to try it now and find out.
Right.
But yes, two of the games in this category are also up for Game of the Year. So that is worth mentioning, which doesn't necessarily guarantee that they'll win this category too, but definitely heightens their chances a little bit. I still think Street Fighter 6 has a strong chance of winning this category, though, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't know about Diablo 4. I mean, I hear good things, but, like, I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I'm also going to cast my vote for Mario on this one, I think. Alright. So, you want to take this next one, Nick?
Yes. So this next one is for best sports racing. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, we have EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and the Crew Motorfest. So out of all of these, I have only played a little bit of the Crew Motorfest.
Oh, did you jump in on that trial that I mentioned?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Yes, I did.
same here.
And I loved every minute of it.
Me too. You see what I mean by the whole car PG thing? See, with that being the case, you would like the Forza Horizon games. Maybe not so much Motorsport, but the Horizon ones you would like because that's how they play too.
I also want it's a toss up for me between Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged and the Crew Motorfest because I played Hot Wheels Unleashed. I played the first Hot Wheels Unleashed and loved it. And if this is being nominated for best sports racing game, it's a toss up because yes, I liked what I played of the Crew Motorfest, but I like the mechanics of the Hot Wheels Unleashed games better.
Well, here's what I can tell you. I predict very strongly that Forza Motorsport is going to win this category.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my vote is going to the Crew Motorfest for what I played of it in that 5-hour demo.
I'm gonna vote for Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged.
All right, this next category is the best simulation slash strategy game. So we have Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Cities Skylines 2, Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4. So this is like for the best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay. So this would be like your like back in the day, your like Age of Empires or your like
Yeah.
StarCraft type stuff, or like your Sim City, like your city builder type games.
Yep.
Those are your. Sometimes simulations can
So-
also be like flight simulator type games too.
Yeah. Goat Simulator.
But this is also for strategy games too. So stuff like tactics based games and
Yeah.
stuff like that, or real time strategy games too.
So I am predicting, hear me out, because I know how big it is on the Nintendo side of things. Pikmin 4. I'm predicting Pikmin 4 wins this one.
Okay, I'm also gonna be in the Nintendo camp, but I'm gonna predict that Fire Emblem Engage wins this one. Because that is also
Okay.
I would argue, an even bigger Nintendo franchise than Pikmin, when I think
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
fair. Yep, I have to. Yeah,
But
true.
we may be surprised by this. There's also a strong chance of Company of Heroes, I think. Now, City Skylines 2 just came out, so I don't know if there's been enough time for that one. But that is our friend PJ. He loves the first one. He loves these city builder games where he can just like build a city, and he's
Mm-hmm.
been excited for this one. So, but I'm a little biased here, so I'm gonna vote for Fire Emblem.
Fair. Yeah, I voted for Pikmin 4.
All right, yeah, you want to take this next one here?
Yeah, so this next category is for Best Family, for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. We have 5 titles here. We've got Disney Illusion Island. This is the first time hearing of this game.
Yeah.
Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Okay. Seeing a couple of familiar faces pop up again, 3 of them to be exact.
Yeah, uh-huh.
All right, all right. So,
I'm gonna have to say...
I predict this one is going to Sonic or Mario.
Yeah,
It
I'm gonna have to agree with you on
it
that.
may surprise us. This unknown Disney game may take the cut, but it's gonna be, I don't know. It's probably gonna be Sonic or Mario. Likely Mario. I don't know though for
Since
sure.
I'm a Disney kid, I'm gonna fucking vote for the Disney game. Fuck it.
You may want to look into that game, find out what it is. Disney Illusion Island and best
Yeah,
family game. So this is good for you because you have a daughter, you know.
yeah.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna be a little different here. I'm gonna throw the vote to Sonic on this one.
All right,
I haven't played Sonic Superstars, but I want to.
fair enough. All right, so this next category is the fighting category.
Best fighting game. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the lead on this one. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, we have 5 titles here. We've got God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter 6.
Well,
I strongly feel like this one's going to go to either Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat 1.
I agree. That's what I was gonna say too. Pocket Bravery sounds like a mobile game, so it's not going to that.
No.
I will say I've heard from people that Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl 2 is much better than the first one.
That's what I've heard.
It's a Smash Bros style game with Nickelodeon's characters.
Okay.
And the second one, it basically fixed everything people didn't like about the first one, so that's worth mentioning. But
The developers listen to their fan base.
Um, yeah, I agree with you. It's either going to be Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it to Mortal Kombat because I've watched the fatalities.
Yeah, so have I. So I have to agree with you on that.
It's like one of the first things I did when that game came out was find a YouTube video of all the fatalities. All right, our next category is the best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So they include MMOs in the RPG category, but I don't see any of those here. I see Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. Starfield in like literally the only category it was nominated in this year. I
Damn.
was surprised. I was genuinely expecting it to be nominated for one of the bigger categories later up the list, but no. These
Damn.
games are all wildly different too. Baldur's Gate 3 is basically a video game version of Dungeons and Dragons. Final Fantasy 16 is a RPG with Devil May Cry style action combat and giant kaiju fights in a Game of Thrones setting. Lies of P is a Soulsborne style game. Sea of Stars is a old turn-based pixelated JRPG style, and Starfield is a Bethesda RPG, and that is a genre of its own, like Skyrim in space.
Right.
I believe with all my heart that this is probably going to Baldur's Gate 3, but I'm voting for Final Fantasy 16 personally.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that based on the little bit of the demo that I played. So yeah, I will have to agree with Final Fantasy 16
I
with
think
you on that.
I
That's who I'm voting for.
I would shit myself if it happened, but I think there's a not strong possibility. There is a small chance. Let's say maybe like a 25, no, not even that. Like a 15% chance that they give a pity win to Starfield here. Like maybe, you know what I mean? But also maybe not because it might like strain their credibility or something. But it was nominated. It was
Right.
nominated here for a reason. Um, so, but I'm thinking it's very likely. I wouldn't be surprised if Sea of Stars won too, though. Or,
Right.
or I see a strong argument. I think Final Fantasy 16 is going to win a category. I don't think it's going to be this one though. I think
Right.
it's too actiony for them for that. I think this is going to be Baldur's Gate 3 or Sea of Stars, believe it or not. I think that's
Okay.
going to be, but I am voting for Final Fantasy 16 here.
Right.
Now if was Hogwarts Legacy an RPG? Because if so, this would be your time to talk about that.
Yeah, I believe it was an
Or
RPG.
is it an action adventure game?
RPG. You know what?
I mean, you create your own character and everything, right? So I guess RPG. You like,
Yeah,
are you like
RPG.
making dialogue
Yeah.
options and stuff?
Yes, you're making dialogue options. So yeah, it would be
Okay,
RPG.
so it would have been in this category if it was nominated.
Yeah, okay. So I have a gripe about Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay,
More so, it's more of a me problem than anything. So I'm just gonna complain for a second.
okay,
I did my first playthrough as a Gryffindor, and there are house specific missions that are you can only experience these missions in that specific house. Like I think it's Hufflepuff. You get to you do a mission in uh Azkaban. I don't know what the house specific mission is for Ravenclaw, but I know I also at the same time don't know the uh house specific mission for Slytherin is either. However, I do know that in this, if you do a playthrough as Slytherin, the there has the basilisk has been spotted in the Slytherin common rooms. from the Chamber of Secrets. So my gripe with that is I did the first playthrough and I wish I could go back and experience it for the first time again. So I am just as excited as I was the first time I played it. I don't have the drive to go through and play it again. I don't know why.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes. Some games, it's like, once was enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that you being a huge Harry Potter fan and having no drive to play it a second time, I guess, speaks to itself as to why it wasn't nominated in anything.
Right.
I mean, but you enjoyed it for what it was, and that's fine.
Oh, I
That's
did.
fine.
Absolutely,
I
I
think
did.
there are other more controversy related reasons why it didn't get nominated in anything, and I'm not going to get into all that on here, uh,
Right.
but I mean, people know, you know. That being said,
Yeah.
though, if it had made the best RPG category, what would you have replaced it with?
Let's see here. Okay, because I know absolutely nothing about Sea of Stars. Yeah, I would have replaced it with Sea of Stars.
Ooh, that's a harsh one. You should have said Starfield, I would think, because Sea of Star or Lies. I would have
Starfield?
accepted Lies of P too. Sea of Stars is considered one of the better indie games this year.
Okay, fair. Never mind. I
but
retract
but
my statement and and
but
and
hey,
say Lies of P.
because I mean, yeah, that one is a Soulsborne game, but I think people are starting to get Soulsborne fatigue. So,
Yeah, fair.
oh, but all right, this next category though, the best action adventure game. For the best
Yes.
action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. And I have played almost everything in this category except for the last one. So we have Alan Wake 2, Spider Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Um, oh man. This is a hard one to predict. See, this is where it starts getting hard. Because this is where it's really difficult to tell because you could make a strong argument for literally all of these. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and god damn it.
I know which one I'm voting for. I'm voting for Spider-Man 2.
That's fair and all, but it's not so much about the vote here as it is which one is going to win. And
Right. Yeah,
okay, so cards on the table here. I think the one with the highest chance of winning this category is probably Spider-Man 2. Just
yeah.
based on the gameplay factor alone. That being said though, um yeah, Jedi Survivor, that one I think won't win this because when the game first came out, it was kind of broken. Performance mode was really lackluster in that game. At first, it's fine now.
Okay.
They fixed it, they patched it, but when it first came out, it had a lot of problems. So I don't know. But I'm thinking Spider-Man 2 has the strongest chance of winning. There's a strong argument for Zelda 2, but there is also a lot of people saying that this Zelda game is basically just an expansion to Breath of the Wild, so maybe not. And Resident Evil 4 is a remake, and Alan Wake 2 is technically a horror game. So, yeah, it's probably going to Spider-Man 2. This one is probably going to Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote for Spider-Man 2.
Resident Evil 4 is also a horror game, but, like, they don't have a best horror game category. They need to do that. That's what they need to do, a best horror game category, and I don't know why they haven't, because they had plenty of options this year. They had Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4, they had Amnesia the Bunker, and they could have found two more. There was
Yeah.
more, Bendy and the Dark Revival. Well, that was last year, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm also going to vote for Spider-Man 2 in this category. Having played 4 of these 5 games here, I think that would have to actually be my both objective and subjective choice.
Okay.
Just because it is the one that's most deserving of that particular title. I think
Okay.
Alan Wake is getting some votes in other areas. Trust me.
Fair.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, best action game. For the best game in action genre focused primarily on combat. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2. I have not played any of these games, nor have I heard anything about any of these games, so I cannot speak on it. I don't even know which one I'm voting for.
Well, I've played Hi-Fi Rush. That was a game that was shadow dropped earlier this year on Xbox Game Pass, and it's an exclusive over there. And it is a rhythm fighting game where it's an action combat game, but you're fighting to the beat of the music while you're playing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And the whole thing is the whole game is done in the same comic book art style as the Spider-Verse games. Yeah, and Remnant 2 is a sequel to Remnant from the Ashes, which is like basically a Dark Souls game but 2D side-scrolling.
Okay.
Ghost Runner 2 is a runner game. It's one of those like first-person games where your character is automatically running forward and you have to like duck and dodge over obstacles and shit. Dead Island 2 is a zombie game, a big open-world zombie game. Survival focused, like crafting survival. And Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, is a sort of like think of the big mechs from the Metal Gear Solid games, but you're using them in like a tactics combat arena from the developers of the Dark Souls games, so also hard.
Right.
I've heard a lot of buzz around that one this year, so I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Armored Core 6 is going to win this category. That's the one out of all these, that's the one I've heard talked the most about on like the podcasts and gaming news channels and stuff I listen to and watch. Out of all these.
I'm gonna vote for Hi-Fi Rush.
That's what I'm voting for too, because I've played that one. It's really good, and it's also likely going to be in my top 10 list this year. So exclusive sneak peek for the people listening to the podcast. I'm gonna hide some answers in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. So basically, there you go. But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is my vote, but the likely winner of this category is going to be Armored Core 6, I bet. So,
Fair enough.
so the best VR/AR category for the best either virtual reality or augmented reality game, augmented reality being like the shit that mixes the cartoon with real life, like in Pokemon Go when you can see the Pokemon on your camera in the real world, that's augmented reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the categories here are Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR, and Synapse. Literally every last one of these is a PlayStation VR 2 exclusive. There's not a single goddamn MetaQuest game on here, and that makes me a little upset.
Damn.
Not VR2 exclusive. Humanity can also be played on the OG VR, and I think Synapse might be also on the MetaQuest, but Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, and Resident Evil Village are all PSVR2 only. I'm surprised Switchback VR isn't on here, because that's the Dark Pictures anthology game, and it's like a sequel to Until Dawn Rush of Blood.
Gotcha.
It's the same style, but they added new features like a blink. There's literally a level in that game where every time you blink, the enemies move closer to you.
Jesus fuck.
I feel like the Seventh Guest VR got shafted here. That would have been a good one. It's like a remake of an old PC game, and it's a mystery game where there's ghosts and you're like solving puzzles to try and like find hidden treasures and solve the mystery of the murder mystery that happened at this old creepy mansion. It's not really a horror game per se, but it does have like a spooky atmosphere. And I've been playing, I want to talk about it a little bit, Assassin's Creed Nexus VR on the MetaQuest 2, and that has been really good, really immersive so far. I shit you not, I had a lot of fun the other day just walking I grabbed a broom, and I was just walking around randomly smacking NPCs on the ass with it, and they would lurch
You were texting me about that.
I was laughing because of their reactions, because I would hit them with the broom, and they would lurch forward and go, you wretch! and shit like that, be like,
yes.
like, what the hell is wrong with you? It was great. Oh man, I gotta say, thank God for the comfort options though, because like synchronizing a viewpoint and then doing a leap of faith in VR, that is crazy, man. But I will say this. I love the parkour in VR. It's really fun. And this game does something really nifty to help prevent sickness. It gives you a nose in the game that you can make bigger or smaller as you want. And it does
Oh,
and it's so subtle because if you close one of your eyes, you don't see it. But if both your eyes are open, you can just barely see that you have a nose in the center of your vision, and that gives you a mid focal point that helps prevent you from getting sick. You can also turn on blinders. You can turn on a virtual floor, like if you're afraid of heights, so you can like make it so there's always like a virtual floor under you, so it doesn't look as far. Shit like that.
okay.
There's like they got options out the ass. They got snap turning for the camera, smooth turning for the camera. However you need it, you can be as comfortable or uncomfortable as you please in this one.
Okay.
If this game also would have been nominated for best accessibility options too, if it had came out in time, but it missed the cutoff point. Unfortunately, it came out November 16th, and the cutoff point was obviously the 13th. So,
Right.
but that's sad. I've been having fun with it. But I guess since I didn't actually play it, Horizon Call the Mountain is the reason I want a PSVR 2, because that's part of the Horizon Zero Dawn franchise, and I want to experience that. I'd also like to play Resident Evil Village again in VR. That would be cool, because 7 was cool in VR, so... I've played Humanity and Resident Evil Village, both in the not VR versions.
Who do you think's gonna win it though?
That's a really fucking hard choice. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say either Gran Turismo 7 or Resident Evil Village. That's gonna be most likely my... Yeah.
So I'm gonna vote for Gran Turismo 7 because I've actually played it. I did have some gripes about it though, but you and I talked about those.
Yes, I'm gonna vote for Resident Evil Village. Just because I had a fun time with that in the original version, but yes, I would like to try the VR version, especially because the VSP VR2 has 2 hand controls like the MetaQuest, so it's more realistic, Alright, so next we have Best Mobile Game, for the best game playable on a mobile device, which includes mobile phones and Nintendo Switch, just to be clear.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm looking at the nominee list.
What? Oh.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Hey, don't sleep on it. I'm pretty sure that's a Hello Kitty version of Animal Crossing, if I'm not wrong. And Hello Kitty,
probably.
Hello Kitty is very popular. At the store I work at, we have a section dedicated specifically to it, right next to the Harry Potter section. So
okay,
yeah. But besides that, we also have Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which I've played, Honkai Star Rail, I've played, Monster Hunter Now, haven't played, and Terra Nil, haven't played. That's also a game that's on Netflix, and I'm not subscribed to it at the moment, but, Monster Hunter Now is a Monster Hunter version of Pokemon Go, except going around catching Pokemon, you're going around, fighting big monsters with other people.
Okay.
Yeah. Honkai Star Rail, I've told you about that one. That's the one where you're going from planet to planet solving their problems on the space train, and it's got turn-based combat. It's a JRPG. It's completely free to play, and it does have some like mobile game gacha mechanics, but you can play the whole single-player story without spending a dime. Completely free.
Okay.
That one's probably going to get my vote, because I've been playing that and I like it. You'd think I would say Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, but I have a gripe with that one. And that is, it's one of those pay to win type games, one of those pay to progress ones.
Oh, fuck that.
You run into a progress wall where it's like, oh, you need to level up in order to do this. You don't have to, but you're going to have a bad time if you don't. And it's like, oh, so I got to grind for 1,000 hours or spend money. Yeah, so fuck that. That one's not. I'm going to predict that Honkai Star Rail is going to win this, because Genshin Impact is really popular and it's the same developers, and I'm also going to vote for that. I'm also going to vote for that one too. I would be genuinely mad if Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis actually somehow wins this category, because it doesn't deserve it. I love Final Fantasy VII, but what they did to that game specifically is a goddamn insult. So, yeah. Honkai Star Rail it is. What's your prediction and vote here, though?
Monster Hunter now, and that's what I'm voting for.
Okay, interesting. What's your reasoning behind that one?
Cause it's like Pokemon Go. I have no real reason.
Fair enough. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that popular, but you know what? Stranger Things have won, so okay. Ooh, yeah. This is one of my favorite categories. Best debut indie game. This award goes to a brand new developer, and it's the first game they ever put out. Is basically what that category is. So all of these games in this category are brand new games, are like the very first game that these developers ever made. So it's their debut. That's why the category is called that.
Okay.
So we have Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. All right, I've played a little of Cocoon on Game Pass. I've heard a lot about Dredge, and I think that one's going to win, and I'll explain why in a minute. Pizza Tower I thought was an old PC game. I didn't realize it was new. Venba I've heard about but haven't played yet, but it's on my radar. And Viewfinder I've played the demo for, and I really, really liked that, and I'm probably going to vote for it.
I'm gonna vote for Pizza Tower, but I don't know which one because I don't know which one would actually win.
It's going to be Dredge, and here's why. That, again, is another one. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube channels that talk about video games. This is another one that's, like, one of the most talked about in the gaming industry this year. Dredge.
Okay.
And here's why. In this game, you are a fisherman who goes out every day and you're just, like, catching fish and you're taking them back to market and you're selling them for materials so you can make a better boat so you can go out longer. But here's the catch. Pun intended. If you stay out too long and you're out at night fishing, eldritch abominations start showing up, and you have to, like, avoid them and survive while you're also trying to fish. You know, you have to watch out for these giant, horrifying sea monsters that show up. And it's not like a horror game or anything in that regard, because the graphics are like, it's like a isometric, like top-down type of situation with minimalist graphics and stuff. But it is kind of like a oh shit, if that thing gets me, I lose all of this hard work, I need to get, back type situation.
Right.
So people have been saying it's one of those like risk-reward games with an addicting gameplay loop, and people are super into it. I played a bit of played a bit of Cocoon, which is kind of like basically like a puzzle platformer game, and I like what they're doing with it, but it didn't really draw me in after like an hour or so. Viewfinder is probably my favorite on this list because I played the demo for this, and in this game you have to use pictures to solve puzzles. Like, say you need a bridge to get across a gap, so you go and you take a picture of a bridge, and then you take that photo over to where the gap is, and you put it there, and voila, now there's a bridge there all of a sudden. And it is and it plays with perspective, so you can make things bigger or smaller based off of manipulating the perspective. Like, if you walk further away from the thing, when you place the photo, the item will be bigger. And if you get closer to the destination, when you place the photo, the item will be smaller. So it's like a really interesting puzzle game. So that one gets my vote. Dredge is going to win, but my vote is for Viewfinder.
Okay.
So, and you said your vote's for Pizza Tower, but do you have a prediction on the winner?
Probably Dredge, just the way you're talking about it.
I think, yeah. Okay. Okay. So this next category is the best indie game that's not the debut game. Although Dredge is showing up here again too, and so is Cocoon and Viewfinder. So not only are they nominated for the best debut indie game, but also the best overall indie game this year. But besides those three, we also have Dave the Diver, first time it showed up here, and Sea of Stars showing up again after being nominated for best RPG as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This one is either going to Dredge or Sea of Stars. Probably Sea of Stars. I think that one's gonna bump out Dredge, to be honest with you, for this category. I think Dredge will get best debut indie, but I think Sea of Stars is gonna take best like overall indie game.
Okay.
And
I may agree with that. I don't know because I don't know anything about these
I
games.
think I'm also gonna give that one my best, my vote for this category too, because
I'm gonna vote for Dave the Diver.
I've played some of Sea of Stars, and here's a little fun fact for you: it's free on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. It was
Which one?
Sea of Stars.
Really?
It was free on the day of release on both Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra, both of them.
Okay.
Yep. So that is one, after seeing it nominated in so many categories, that I hope people download and try, because it's free if they have either of those things.
Right.
It is a really good game. If you don't mind like the turn-based combat and like reading the dialogue
Right.
because it's like a testament to old school JRPGs. So that one's actually getting my vote here too, and I also predict it being the winner.
Okay.
Besides Dredge, Sea of Stars is probably the other most talked about indie game on the shows I listened to this year. So,
Fair enough.
what did you what did you vote for?
Dave the Diver.
Oh, fair enough. Stirring up a little controversy because that one was the one
Yes.
that people were like, that shouldn't be there because that's not an indie game. Whatever. Okay. All right. You want to take this next one?
Yeah, best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. So, I'm going to go out on a limb.
Oh, do we want to read what they are?
Yeah, so the games we have here are Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2. I don't know Roman numerals. Final Fantasy what?
14.
14 and
The
No
MMO.
Man's Sky. And No Man's Sky. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that from personal experience, I know that Cyberpunk 2077 has a very supportive community.
Yeah. Yeah. The category, this category really is about, it's not so much about the
game.
No,
It's not so much about the game. It's the community surrounding the game.
I was going to say it's not so much about the support from the community as it is the support for the community. This is about the game developers that are super transparent and upfront with their fans and are on top of listening to feedback and getting those patches and content out quickly. That's what this is. This is like,
Okay.
yeah, this is the developers that listen, you know. That's the
That makes more sense.
that's what this is.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so consider like Cyberpunk, for example, is here because they listened to all the feedback about all the issues with that game and finally got it in a working condition.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy XIV continues to add shit all the time that people ask for. No Man's Sky basically dug its way out of a grave to get to where it is now.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be nominated for this.
Right. So, like, that game failed when it first came out, and now it's like, yeah. I don't know why Destiny 2 is here. Everyone I know that plays that game says that the community support for it is actually ass. So, I don't know why it's here.
I'm gonna vote for Cyberpunk 2077, but I personally think, based on what you said about No Man's Sky, I think No Man's Sky is gonna take this home.
Maybe. I think it's actually won this category in previous years. It's either going to be that there's a strong chance here for Final Fantasy XIV, and I don't know the story behind the support on Baldur's Gate 3, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that they have been on top of update patches from launch day. So if it's in this category.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going to vote for Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it that vote too because I think it's impressive how far they've come with that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, this next one is kind of a similar but different category, but this is for the best ongoing game, or
Yeah.
as you will hear me bitching about them in our next episode, live service games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
although not all of these are like that. Some of these, this also includes MMOs, um, and free to play mobile games and shit like that. And as you can see, Cyberpunk 2077 is in this category, and it's here because of the Phantom Liberty DLC that makes it an ongoing game, and the fact that the latest 2.0 patch that they put out for it also basically rehauled the entire game. You know.
Yeah.
So besides that, we also have Apex Legends, which is a battle royale, Final Fantasy 14, which is an MMO, Fortnite, which is a battle royale, and Genshin Impact, which is a free to play mobile game with a single player story. So, but it does constantly have content added to it, like all the time. So
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Fortnite wins this one.
you would think, but this category famously almost always goes to Final Fantasy 14.
Fair.
Almost every year it wins this category. No shitting.
Well, I'm gonna counteract that and vote for Cyberpunk 2077 because out of all of these, I can say I've actually played Cyberpunk 2077.
Right. And yeah, fair enough. And I've dabbled in a little bit of all of these except for Apex, but I for me it either has to be Final Fantasy 14 or Genshin Impact. 14 is I hear about that a lot through other people who play it, and that game, like, every year they're adding a new expansion pack to it that adds like more to the story. They like increase the level cap, add new character classes, all new content, new missions, new raids, all kinds of shit. Like, that game has no ending. It is truly ongoing.
Fair
um
enough.
and it's one of those paid MMOs too. Like, people are paying like, $15 a month to play this, and it is making heavy money. So,
I believe it.
so it's either going to be that, Fortnite, or Genshin Impact, I think. I also see a strong argument for Cyberpunk. I do not see a strong argument for Apex Legends. I hear that game's had a lot of issues lately. So,
Right.
I'm predicting Final Fantasy or Fortnite on this one, but I'm going to be weird and vote for Genshin Impact.
All right.
Because I've played it. I like it. It's fun. It's basically Breath of the Wild with anime characters.
Fair enough.
Which, technically, Breath of the Wild is Breath of the Wild with anime characters, but...
Right.
Ooh, okay. So next we actually have one of my favorite categories. I think this is arguably one of the most important ones.
Yeah.
Games for Impact Award for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. And we have here A Space for the Unbound, Chants of Sonar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Venba. There's Terra Nil and Venba again. The rest of these are first-timers here. And out of all of them, I've only played Chia and Goodbye Volcano High, and I've played I downloaded the demo for Chants of Sonar, but never got around to playing it. I thought maybe I think that one's free on Game Pass. I'm gonna have to check it out. I've heard good things about Space for the Unbound, though. And, personally, I think, like, prediction-wise, just because of the things I've heard about that one, I think A Space for the Unbound, I've heard that name come up a lot this year. I think that one's probably gonna win this category.
Right.
I
could agree.
I think it's gonna win. The rest of these are kind of niche, but I would have to give my vote to Goodbye Volcano High. I started playing that recently, and I am really loving it so far. It's very...
You were telling me about it. I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
It's a toss up between that and Tichia.
It's oh yeah, just Chia. The T is silent apparently.
Chia.
Goodbye Volcano High is about like oh, what's that?
My vote's going to Goodbye Volcano High.
Yeah, so, for the people that don't know, the story of that one is basically, well, that game itself is basically, I wouldn't even call it a game so much as I would an interactive movie, really. And, like, I mean, truly, it's, like, literally, like, 90% cutscenes. Um, and I'm not exaggerating, it's an interactive cartoon. And you are,
Fair enough.
but during these cutscenes, there are dialogue options, and you make choices, and your choices will change the story and your relationship with other characters. But also throughout the game, because you're in a band, there are rhythm game moments where you have to, hit the buttons, and, it'll show you like a timer on the screen and stuff where you have to hit them at the right moment and all that. And it's not too hard, but it's not very easy either. And
Right.
it's one of those things where the story will go on no matter what, but your performance in the songs during the rhythm moments will actually change the post-song dialogue a bit. Like, people will comment on how good or bad you did in
Yeah.
the game dialogue. Um got a really interesting animation style. I like it a lot, but the story is like a bunch of dinosaurs, but like in the modern age, and they're all in high school and they're living their lives and stuff, and they find out that a
Mm.
meteor is coming to destroy them all. It's gonna kill them. They're all gonna die. So they're like trying to basically come to terms with that while simultaneously just living their lives to the fullest, and it's a very emotional ride, a very interesting roller coaster. There is an
Okay.
ass load of LGBTQIA plus representation in this game. Like,
That
a
is
lot.
why I voted for Goodbye Volcano High.
Yes. It is your main character Fang is actually non-binary. One of their best friends is trans. Yeah, that's uh there's a lot of great stuff going on here too. There's a whole section of the game where you basically play a round of D&D at one point.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. You're living out the last days, like basically the last week of these characters' lives. Um,
Jeez.
yeah. So other games here too. Like, I know Chia is here because it gives us a peek at the culture of New Caledonia, which is where the game takes place. And
Right.
not only that, but it's basically a Pixar type story and animation style too, because your father gets kidnapped by a bad guy, and you learn that you have the power to spirit jump into animals and objects. So you
Mm-hmm.
use that to chase him down and save your family. You know.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool one too. But yeah, between the two, I think I'm also going to vote for Goodbye Volcano High. But I think Space for the Unbound is going to win this.
Okay.
I think that's the one that's going to win this one. Maybe we'll see.
Okay. Next one.
Moving right along here, would you like to take this next one for us?
Yeah. So this one is for innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. We've got 6 titles. We've got Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6.
Okay, so this category is not about the games themselves, but more about the accessibility options in them that make them playable for people with disabilities and lower skill levels and shit. So we're talking about features for the hearing impaired. We're talking about features for people who are colorblind. We're talking about features for people with one arm, stuff like that. Forza Horizon had this out the ass. I think I voted for it last like a few years back because of the fact that it had so many of those features. Um
The fact that Spider-Man 2 is in this category says a lot
I'll tell you
about
why.
how.
I'll tell you why it's here. Not only
Hmm.
not only does it have a lot of like, colorblind options and stuff like that, but there is a game mode like in the difficulty options that is basically the let my little cousin play mode. And what this game mode does is makes it so you can't die. Um
Okay.
there is a like four kids difficulty option that basically makes it so it's impossible to kill you in this game. Um and
Bet.
I think that's a pretty neat feature. I can think of a
Yep,
lot of things.
that's.
Forza Motorsport, if it's anything like Horizon, its accessibility features are probably to make it an easier racing game for people who aren't good at racing games. So like
Right.
Forza Horizon had the ability to like turn on auto braking and even auto steering. So like say you only have one hand, well you can turn these features on and all you got to do is hold down the trigger and the car drives itself and you can still enjoy the game while not having to worry about steering or braking, you know.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was one of the features in Forza Horizon. I'm assuming it's in Motorsport too. So these are the kind of reasons that these things are categorized here. I
That
don't
makes sense.
I genuinely don't know a lot about the accessibility features for a lot of these games, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna go out on a limb and assume that it's either gonna be Forza or Spider-Man for this one, probably.
Okay.
I mean, there's a strong option for the fighting games too. I think I heard something about Street Fighter 6 being more accessible, like a
Yeah.
more accessible fighting game. So
I'm voting for Spider-Man 2.
yeah, I think I'm gonna vote for Forza on this one, just because if it has the same features as Horizon, then that's a really good option. Um,
Okay.
yeah, not gonna lie, I ended up using that feature in Horizon just because I felt lazy, like,
Right.
and also because I am not good at turning and braking in racing games. So best performance.
Yes, best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. We have Ben Starr from Final Fantasy 14.
16. That's
This
he's Clive.
16.
He's Clive.
Oh gosh. God damn it. See, I told y'all I don't know Roman numerals for
This
shit.
is how you remember it. X is 10, V is 5, I is 1. So just
Okay.
add them
Gotcha.
together. Yeah.
Okay. We've got Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Cal Kestis.
Yes. Idris Elba from Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty.
DLC. Yeah. Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, yep. Melanie Libbard, Alan Wake 2.
Saga Anderson.
Neil Newborn from Baldur's Gate 3.
Not sure who he plays.
And Yuri Lowenthal from Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Peter Parker.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, so objectively, I think this one is like my prediction, the winner is probably going to be Idris Elba. Usually
Yeah.
the last year it went to Christopher Judge for God of War Ragnarok as Kratos.
Okay. I
But
remember that. Yeah.
I haven't seen enough Cyberpunk. I do think the Ben Starr though, a lot of people have said his acting was really good. Like even if they didn't like the game, they said his acting was good. So I think there's a strong chance for that one too. Um,
See, I'm gonna be biased here because I actually like Cameron Monaghan, and he was in one of my favorite Showtime shows.
oh, okay.
Uh, he was Ian Gallagher in Shameless.
Okay.
Yeah, so that Cameron Monaghan's getting my vote.
All right. Yeah, and I'm predicting either Ben Starr or Idris Elba, but I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? The Baldur's Gate 3 guy might get it too, because I think
Mm-hmm.
if he's the character I think he is, then he's like everyone's favorite character from that game. So,
Right.
okay.
For me, it was a toss up between Cameron Monaghan and Yuri Lowenthal from Spider-Man 2, because isn't Yuri Lowenthal the same actor that did the voiceover the for Spider-Man and and Peter Parker in Miles Morales?
Yeah, he's the same actor across the whole franchise.
Yeah. So it was a toss up for either Cameron or Yuri.
Yeah, and
Because
his acting is really good in the second game, especially with all the Venom stuff. So,
okay, yeah, okay.
so you voted for Cameron. I'm voting for Yuri, but who do you predict is gonna win?
Who do I predict is gonna win? I think I'd have to agree with you It's a toss-up between Idris Elba and Neil Newborn.
Okay. You don't think Ben Starr has a chance?
Maybe. Possibly.
Okay. They have genuinely surprised me before, so, you know.
Fair.
Like, there have been some times where I was like, what? No way that one won. All right.
Right.
Well, our next category is Best Audio Design, recognizing
Okay.
the best in-game audio and sound design. Now, just to be clear, this is not the soundtrack. This is not the music. There's a separate category for that. This is for the actual sound effects and audio in the game. So picture you're playing like Dead Space with a pair of headphones and you're creeping through the creepy tunnels and you can hear every little drip of water off the pipes, every little rat scurrying in the ceiling, the growling of monsters in the distance. That's audio design.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what we're looking for here. So we got Alan Wake 2, the Dead Space remake, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4.
I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's gonna. Honestly, I don't know who's gonna win this one.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know who I would predict.
It's gonna be one of the horror games. It's gonna be one of the horror games because audio design is a huge part of the horror experience. And
I'm gonna vote for Alan Wake 2 because you're not the only one I've heard good things about this game from.
Really, who else has said something about it?
Well, he didn't tell me directly, but my old boss Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
He had posted something about it on his Snapchat story.
Okay, so I think I'm predicting that it's going to be one of the three horror games here. It's probably either going to be Alan Wake 2 or the Resident Evil 4 remake because I'd argue they're probably a bit more popular both than the Dead Space remake, maybe. But Alan Wake 2 is also going to get my vote, and here's why. Because when you're in the sections in this game when you're playing as Alan, there are shadow people all over the place because you're in the dark place. And if you're wearing headphones, you can hear them. They're whispering things to you as you're walking by. They're going like, "Alan Wake." He's like, and they'll say stuff like, "I'm drowning," or "You need to write the story out," or some shit like that. But they're like whispering it like in whispers, and it's like
right.
super creepy. And when you're in the real world playing as Saga, there are a lot of moments where you're going through like a creepy forest at night and you can hear like the leaves rustling and the tree branches creaking and shit like that. And when there is an enemy nearby, trust me, you know. So
fair enough.
And also, of course, I have the sound design for the Old Gods of Asgard songs too, but that's more on the music side of things. If we're being fair.
Right.
But, really good sound design. For me, it's definitely going to be one of the horror games. I'm probably leaning more Alan Wake 2 on this one, although I would find a solid argument for Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 as well in this category. But Alan Wake 2 is also going to get my vote. That game, by the way, since I wanted to talk about it anyways, is a sequel to both Alan Wake and Control. And there's not really a whole lot I can say about it without spoiling it because it's so weird and layered and kind of like up its own ass, but in a good way. It's very meta, but basically the story is that Alan is trapped in the dark place and he's trying to use his powers to write fictional stories into reality to get the help of this FBI agent named Saga Anderson to help him escape from the dark place, but it ends up leading to bad things escaping from the dark place that they don't want, and that leads to more things down the road. So
okay,
that's basically what that game is about. It is a survival horror game at its core, but it's also very campy and kind of like Twin Peaksy in a way. It's very self-aware and tongue-in-cheek at times. So
okay.
It gets goofy at moments. Like, there's only Remedy, I swear to God, only Remedy has the balls to stick a full-on, straight-up musical number in the middle of a horror game. So, yeah. All the more reason for the Old Gods of Asgard to do a performance this year.
Right.
Because that is the franchise that they are from. Poets of the Fall plays Old Gods of Asgard in the Alan Wake franchise. They show up in pretty much every Remedy game. So, on that same note, This next category is the best score and music. This is the one where it's actually the music in the game that we are talking about. Which game has the best music? Oh, I predict that Alan Wake 2 is going to win this because of the Old Gods of Asgard.
Fair enough.
That is my prediction. They're played by the real-life band Poets of the Fall, like I said, and that's a really good band. But I could also see an argument for Hi-Fi Rush because it uses a lot of licensed rock music for it.
Fair enough.
So, I would vote also. Personally, I'm not going to vote for it, but I love Final Fantasy game music. Like, every Final Fantasy game has, like, the best music. So I kind of want to, but I'm super super biased towards the Old Gods of Asgard. So not only do I think that it's going to win, but it's also getting my vote here.
That's fair. Yeah,
Like-
I'll have to agree.
Like, literally anyone who's ever heard an Old Gods of Asgard song, you know we got Poet and the Muse, Children of the Elder God. But the song that they did, well, they did 3 songs for Alan Wake 2, but the big one, The Herald of Darkness, which also has Alan Wake and Mr. Door in it, is got to be one of the best songs they've ever done. And it's like 13 minutes long.
Jesus Christ.
God, it's such a good song. I love it so much. There are shorter versions of it. There's a video edit and a radio edit. So,
Okay.
but the full song takes place during one of the best parts of the game. So,
Fair enough.
which their songs usually do take place during the best parts of their games. So, you want to take this next one?
Yeah, let's see. The best
Oh,
art
wait.
direction.
Before that, I forgot to ask you what your prediction and vote was for best music.
Alan Wake 2, prediction and vote.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, alright, let's go with the next one then.
Best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. We have 5 titles here. We've got Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
So this is for graphics and art style.
Mario. I'm voting for Mario.
Really? You
Yes.
think out of all these games here, Mario deserves the vote for best graphics and art style?
Yes.
So I have a solid argument for most of these. Alan Wake is probably here because of the whole light and darkness thing. Like, the light versus the darkness is a huge aspect of that, so they put a lot of effort into, like, the high dynamic range and, like, the difference between, you know, the brightest whites and the darkest blacks in that game. But my vote is probably going to go to Hi-Fi Rush here because, like I said earlier, this game is animated like a comic book. It has a very interesting cell shading / comic book style art style, and
Okay.
I'm super into it, quite frankly. It reminds me of the Spider-Verse movies, and I love it.
Okay.
Lies of P just looks like any other Soulsborne game, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom looks just like Breath of the Wild. So,
Right.
And Mario looks just like any other Mario game. So I think the 2 strongest contenders here are Alan Wake and Hi-Fi Rush. And out of all of them, objectively, Hi-Fi Rush probably has the most unique art style. Because Alan Wake, at the end of the day, it looks really good, but it's still it's a horror game with photorealistic graphics. It's no different than the newer Resident Evils. So
Fair.
I'm giving this vote to Hi-Fi Rush, but I'm gonna predict that Zelda is probably gonna win this one. Either Zelda,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
either Zelda or Hi-Fi Rush is gonna win this one.
Best narrative. For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. We've got 5 titles here. We've got Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now, I don't know a lot of these because I have not played. I don't know any. I know a little bit of the Final Fantasy 16 because I played the demo.
Well, Final
Some of
Fantasy 16 is basically Game of Thrones with giant kaiju fights. There is a lot of
Right.
There is a lot of. It's a very gloomy story with a lot of death and betrayal and But it's a really good story, actually. Like, that one is actually probably getting my vote, because I've almost finished Spider-Man 2, and I've almost finished Alan Wake 2, and they both have really good stories that I'm really into, but something about the narrative of Final Fantasy 16, just from a storytelling perspective, made it stand out above the crowd for me this year. And
So
yeah.
I can objectively agree with that, because I only know based on what you have told me on it, about it, based that and the fact that I've played the demo a little bit.
Right.
But for my vote, because I like how the story has gone so far from the Spider-Man and the Miles Morales game, my vote is going to Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Weirdly, I thought you were going to say the Phantom Liberty DLC for Cyberpunk.
I haven't gotten far enough in Cyberpunk 2077 to even justify voting for that.
Now, 16 is my vote, but my prediction is that Baldur's Gate 3 or Spider-Man is going to take this one, and here's why. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of those games where you make choices that change the story, and in this game in particular, it changes the story dramatically, like more so than any game in the history of ever. So Baldur's Gate 3 is an RPG where you have your own character, you build parties with companions, you make choices that change the story, you can tackle situations like, for example, there's like a war against goblins in the first act, and you can kind of choose how to go about that. You can like kill them all, or you can join them and kill the other people, or you can like broker peace between the two factions. It's all up to you. But since it is a D&D style game, you have to basically, like, it plays like D&D, where you have to roll the dice and hope that you get a high enough roll to add on to your stats in order to pass the check, in order to make the choices you want to make. And that works for that works for combat too. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think this is one of those games where if characters die, they stay dead. So if one of your party members gets killed in combat or through some bullshittery in a cutscene, then they're gone. I could be wrong about that.
Right.
But I did see a really funny scene where the player character dropped a pillar on top of someone, and the guy actually resurrected, and he was like, "Are you mad? You dropped a fucking pillar on me." You know? So, like, I want to play this game, but it's digital only, and I'm not spending $70 on it. You know, so
Fair
like
enough.
I'm gonna wait, but like I do really want to play it because I've heard nothing but good things. I guarantee you, Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna sweep the show because it is the most talked about game on the internet this year. Period.
I mean,
Like,
it was talked about in the most recent South Park special. Let's be honest here.
exactly, and
If South Park's talking about it, it's doing something right.
yeah, they talked about, well, or wrong. It's either doing something very right or very wrong.
Right, that's fair.
You know, but Spider-Man 2 has a strong argument to it because this is a Kraven the Hunter and Venom story. So, you know, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big
Yeah,
deal. And
Yeah, no, Spider-Man is getting my vote for that one.
I would say Alan Wake 2 might belong here for all of the crazy plot twists that it has going and the whole meta-narrative thing where it's a story within a story within a story. But people apparently didn't like the ending, so I don't know if it's going to get it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, my prediction, Baldur's Gate 3 or Spider-Man 2. My vote, Final Fantasy 16.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you voted for Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, yes, sir.
Okay, alright. Now for the two big ones. These are the final two categories. Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. We have Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Basically, everything nominated for Game of the Year minus one thing. So this category is, like, as it says, best game direction. So this is for, like, this would be the category at the Oscars that would be equivalent to best director. Okay.
Okay.
So this would go to, like, the best artistic choices and creative direction in a game. Like, for example, the choice to stick a musical in the middle of Alan Wake 2 would be a game direction artistic choice. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it also comes from like, so it's basically goes to like them for all the choices they decided to make, and creativity, and stuff, and innovation and shit like that. So,
Yeah.
I I think this is probably going to go to Baldur's Gate 3 specifically because of what I just got done talking about, where it has such a like outstanding branch of narrative paths, and the fact that it
Mm-hmm.
basically plays like exactly like D&D, you know.
I could agree with that.
I
Yeah.
think that's probably it's going to win best direction, but my vote is going to Alan Wake 2 because seriously, they put a fucking musical in the middle of a horror game. I mean, how can I can't exaggerate that enough.
I have not played Alan Wake 2 or any of the other games on here, but I have played one. Well, I haven't. Well, I've played the first two games in this franchise, but I'm gonna again. My vote's going for Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a very strong prediction here that I think Spider-Man 2 is actually going to take a lot of awards. It's going to take a lot.
Yeah,
It's going to take so many awards that people are going to think it's going to win Game of the Year, and then Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win Game of the Year. Like, that's...
yeah. It's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which,
It's gonna pull an It's gonna pull an
Elden Ring.
It's gonna pull an it's gonna pull an Elden Ring.
Or a God of War, because that happened in 2018. Red Dead Redemption 2 took home a lot of awards, a lot. And I thought it was going to win Game of the Year, and then God of War won Game of the Year. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and honestly, I would have been happy with either of those, you know? So,
All right. Our final category:
yep, go ahead and take it.
Game of the Year. Recognizing that a game that delivers absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields.
Yep.
We have 6 titles. Count them 6. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Resident Evil 4 Remake, to be specific. Yep. So I think it's no contest here. I like 100% believe with all my heart that Baldur's Gate 3 is winning this, just based off everything I've heard from everyone else, you know.
I can agree with that, but I am still voting for Spider-Man 2.
I can respect that. So for me, this is a hard toss up between Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. Like, and Miles Morales was my personal game of the year it came out. Now, to be fair, folks, my personal game of the year has only lined up with the actual winner once in history, and that has been in 2018 when God of War won. Every other year, mine's been
question.
different.
I can't remember if Miles Morales even made Game of the Year nominee the year it came out. Did it?
It did not, but the first Spider-Man did. So
okay, so here's where I believe history may or may not repeat itself. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 may be the most talked about game of the year, but if history repeats itself, Spider-Man 2 will take home take home the show.
well, there would be no repeat because it hasn't won previously. It was nominated in 2018, but that was the same year God of War and Red Dead 2 came out. So
wait, I thought Spider-Man won Game of the Year that year.
nope, that was God of War.
God damn it.
2018.
Why the fuck did they have a Game of the Year edition for Spider-Man?
Oh, so Game of the Year editions are the official Game of the Year is decided by Jeff Keighley's Game Awards every year, but other places have their own individual smaller Game of the Year like awards that they do, and they can give out like
that makes more sense.
Like I do my top 10 list every year. IGN does like their own Game of the Year awards type thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like we literally just had the Golden Joystick Awards like a couple weeks ago. So So
Okay.
yeah, usually if it wins something at one of those, it'll call itself a Game of the Year edition. It really is
Makes
just an
sense.
excuse to repackage the game with all the DLC bundled in. Is
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
but
sense.
it did not win the official Game of the Year that year. It went to God of War 2018,
Gotcha.
which was also my Game of the Year that year. And Spider Man was actually number 4 on my list that year. I can't remember what 2 and 3 were though. Um, but yeah, so obviously I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win this. For my personal vote for Game of the Year, though, this is a very hard choice between Alan Wake 2 and Spider Man 2. And just to be clear, the one that I vote for here doesn't necessarily mean it's my actual Game of the Year. But,
Right, exactly.
but,
It's your
for
yeah.
my top 10 list, I mean, but
Yo, I
it
know.
doesn't necessarily mean it's not either, you know?
Right.
Let's see. I'm weighing the two against each other, and the more I think about it, granted, I haven't finished either one of them yet, but just from what I've played so far of each of them and how much I like the different things and stuff, and I think I'm going to vote for Alan Wake 2 here. I think.
There you
I
go.
think I'm going to because it's just, I don't know, man, there's just something about it. This game is very different and weird, and it draws me in. It doesn't necessarily mean it's my actual Game of the Year. That could very well be something that's not even nominated here. But,
Right.
I've given some hints towards that before. I can tell you this much, though. Two,
Being cryptic here.
two of the games nominated for Game of the Year are on my list, at least.
Yeah,
Yes, and there
I
was.
know that.
And my Game of the Year is actually between those two and one other game that was not nominated for Game of the Year, but is on my list and was nominated for Best RPG. So,
Okay.
and Best Narrative. In fact, it's the one I voted for Best Narrative. So, um,
Okay.
you may remember in a different. Actually, no, people haven't heard it yet, but in the next episode that's coming out, you'll get some more hints. And I think one of them I said was that my Game of the Year is a title with a number in it. So I think with these hints that I've given in this episode, people will much more easily be able to boil down which of those 3 games it like they can narrow it down to 3 specific games now,
Yeah.
which means if those 3 games are the ones fighting for Game of the Year on my list, that means that whichever of the 2 doesn't make Game of the Year are going to be numbers 2 and 3 on the list, most likely.
Okay.
So, at the very least, if you've been paying attention to my hints and clues, you at least know my top 3, just not the order of them. So,
Right.
so there you have it. And that, my fine feathered friends, is our predictions and whatnot for the Game Awards. Is there any other games? Before I forget, this is going to be our opportunity to talk about anything else that wasn't nominated in any category that we played this year that we want to give a little attention to, give a little shout out to. I'd have to say, for me, one of them would be Theatrium Final Bar Line, which is a Final Fantasy rhythm game, came out earlier this year. It is the final one in its category, you know? The
Yeah.
final game in that franchise, actually. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. If there was like any. I played a little bit of Under the Waves, not really going to recommend that. Haven't played Oxenfree 2 yet, so can't really talk about that. I know you talked about Hogwarts Legacy. Was there anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Alright.
Honestly, I don't think they'll ever nominate a WWE 2K game for sports. Maybe. I don't
I
know.
think I've seen one nominated for like best sports game in the past, if I'm being honest.
Okay, fair.
I have in the past before, but
Okay.
all right, folks, there you have it. That was our predictions and votes for the upcoming Game Awards, which again airs
Yeah.
December 7th, Thursday, December 7th, live on everywhere, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. And if you can't catch it live, you can always catch the replay later on. It'll be a video you can watch on YouTube. So,
Yes.
so yeah, and before we go, I have, I mentioned it a couple times throughout the episode, but, in case you're wondering, every year I do my own top 10 list of like my top 10 favorite games that year, and I have I've been doing it since 2016, and for a couple years here I've been holding a contest with it where I give you a chance. I put a video out. It'll have the rules and it'll have a list of nominees, and you watch the video and you look at the nominees and you have to guess out of like the 15 to 20 games nominated which 10 made my list, and you get points for the correct guesses, and if you can correctly guess my game of the year you get bonus points, and the winners, which there is a first, second, and third place tier, win gift cards for the gaming platform of their choice. So,
and watch out, everybody, because I am going to be competing in this contest as well.
Right.
This year.
Right. So there'll be more rules and
I want that Spider-Man 2 game, y'all.
So if you are at all interested in this contest, then find me on YouTube under Oversoul Gaming. If you're not listening to this on YouTube, if you're listening to it somewhere else, go to YouTube and look me up, Oversoul Gaming. You'll know the avatar by the blue hair. And subscribe so that you know when that contest video comes out. It should be coming out Monday the 27th. That'll be when I put that video out. You can listen to the rules, and then you can leave your entry, ideally in the comments of that video.
Yeah.
And there'll be more rules explained in the video itself, but basically the deadline will be the midnight on the 26th of December, and then on December 27th, I'll put out the top 10 video, and then a week after that, I will put out a video announcing the winners. So,
okay.
And then the winnings will be distributed over the next couple of months after that. That's how I did it last year. So, so pretty simple, very small effort on your part for the potential to win money.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But yeah, so with that in mind, that'll be it for this episode. So thank you all so much for listening. Let me know your Game Awards predictions and who you're hoping will win and what you're hoping to see in the comments down below if you're on YouTube, or you can shoot me an email at mroversoul53@gmail.com, or follow me on the website formerly known as Twitter at Oversoul53. And you...
Me, you can find me on the website formerly known as Twitter at The Vaping Fiend. You can find me on TikTok at the.vaping.fiend. And why not follow me on Twitch too at The Vaping Fiend.
Hell yeah. And, yep, that's it for this episode. We look forward we'll be doing a post-Game Awards episode after the Game Awards, the week after, ideally, hopefully. Yes. Because it comes out that Thursday. We're hoping that, we both get a chance to watch it and then record an episode that weekend and put it out the following week. So,
yeah.
And we'll talk about our reactions to the announcements and the winners and stuff like that. So, Yep. So that's it for this one. Thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Good night, everybody.
Bye.